Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Odin. I'm back. You thought you got rid of me, but I'm back. I am back. I took my little hiatus, like I had mentioned in a previous video. I had my bros, my brothers, my boys, best friends from Colorado, Keith and Kent, came and visited me in Washington State, their first time out here. And we had a blast, man. But yeah, it's been a little while. I took a hiatus. I wasn't on social media hardly at all. Wasn't making videos, wasn't live streaming, wasn't doing anything. Just enjoying my time, giving them my undivided attention while they were here. And yeah, it's been great. I am super exhausted though and ready to get back to normal routine. Um, which means here after I'm done with this, going to bed and means getting up early and going to work tomorrow, which will snap me right back into reality. But yeah, I drove from Spokane to Seattle, one side of the state to the other. Picked them up at SeaTac Airport, and man, we hit the ground running. We had a blast. We stayed in Belltown, a nice hub area to like do all this stuff, all kinds of very Seattle things. Go to Pike's Place Market, go to the M-Pop, Museum of Pop History, go to the Space Needle, go to the pier and the ocean of the Puget Sound. And along the way, eat very good food, and along the way, drink at lots of fine establishments. A couple of which had pinball, and my boys are huge pinball fans, so we had a blast playing lots of pinball at Shorty's and at Jupiter Fun Bars. But yeah, did a lot of drinking and burned the candle at both ends, staying out, having fun every night, taking a few breaks because we're old and we're acting like we're young, but we're not. And our bodies would go, whoa, pump the brakes, old man, slow it down. You're burning the candle at both ends and you're paying for it. But we had fun, and man, it was good to see him. It was a lot of fun. So Seattle was fun. Belltown just, and my boys, they're like me. We're all huge Alice in Chains fans. But Keith, the older brother, he is not just a huge Alice in Chains fan. We're also huge grunge fans. But he especially likes Alice in Chains, as do I. But he especially has a huge fondness for Lane Staley, as Keith was also a lead singer, as was I. And so we very much respect Lane Staley. His voice is incredible, but also as a person, he seemed like a very unique individual. It was very tragic, his life, but man, if it didn't give us some extremely inspired music. So the tragedy for him was a benefit to us, I guess. But so Keith, he came to Washington. A lot of it was to experience the motherland of all the '90s grunge music that he loves so much. I would like to think that I was the main reason he came out, and I'm sure I was. But that said, he wanted to see some things that were very specific to the music and the bands, and to Lane Staley especially. So we made a little trip out to, it's either Fremont or the U District, in that area where Lane Staley's last apartment that he lived in and died in, at the end, where that was located. And my boy Keith got very emotional. He's an intense guy, and he got really emotional being there, and I don't blame him. I'm not particularly emotional about celebrities. I don't get particularly emotional about people I know, even. And it's all relative. It depends on the closeness of the person, the age of the person, all these things, young people, that'll always be way more devastating for sure. And the big tragedy recently that was just one of the saddest things I've heard in a while, in a global context or in a for the United States, the shootings in Texas, and it was in the middle of us having fun, you know. But that was so. Speaking of young people, that's one of the most devastating and fucked up things you'll ever hear about or know happened. But I'm not gonna go off on that tangent. I'm just making a knowledge because I was saying the younger the person, the more tragic, the more hard hitting it is. But yeah, so we went there. We went to the Central Saloon, which I actually played there years ago, probably about 7 years ago. And I knew that the Chains had played there, that lots of bands from the scene had played there. And I remember when I did play there, I was talking to the bouncer door guy, and he just gave me such cool stories about, and you could tell his fondness for Lane Staley in the way he talked about him. I mean, he just kept saying he was such a beautiful person. He said he was funny, had a great kind of dry wit about him, and just such a lovely person and caring and kind and all those good things. So it was really cool to hear those stories. And we went back, and it was my first time back, their first time there, and it's such a cool bar. Lots of memorabilia on the walls, old band concert posters or show posters, and pictures of the musicians. It was great. Really enjoyed ourselves there. Watched a little bit of live music, and then yeah, we just kind of bar hopped a lot too, but it was fun, and lots of good food while we were over there too. That's it. Like I was saying, we were burning the candle at both ends, staying up late, trying to cram in as much fun as we could, and it's just being with them again. They're my bros, so I miss them already. But they're back in Colorado, and now I got to get back to reality. Back to my usual routine. So like I said, I've been off everything. Hopefully everyone didn't like just forget about me and go like, yeah. Because in this modern age, you got to be like always in it. You got to be in it all the time, or you just get forgotten. So hopefully, I don't think that'll happen. Totally, at least. I'll have to like re-establish some ground and get back in there. But I'm excited to do so. I'm excited to get drawing again. Man, I miss drawing. So many ideas ready to go. So, anyway, we left Seattle, came back to Spokane, spent the last few days here. Was able to show him some things in my town where I'm living. Spokane Falls, Riverfront Park. Got to take him to my haunt, where I do karaoke quite often, the Star Bar, which that place can get pretty crazy anyway, but throw Keith and Kent in the mix, and yeah, it was a fun night. We all made it home unscathed, barely. And then yeah, today I drove him to the airport and said goodbye. I'll be visiting them in Colorado in September. I got a Iron Maiden concert that my boy Kent, the one who was here, bought me a ticket. All I have to do is get my happy ass down there. That was his birthday present to me, so I'm excited to see Iron Maiden in September. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get back to normal, back to posting, back to videos, back to streaming with anybody who'll have me on, I guess. I do miss 80s Made. I miss J-Bot, all those guys. Yeah, and like I said, I miss drawing, and there's so much to do. So there's a lot I want to do on this book. I'm even contemplating redoing some pages because growth happens, which is a great thing. But then when you look back at old stuff, you go, it was good at the time, but now I don't know if it's cutting the mustard, if you know what I mean. So There might be a few pages that I want to redo just because I want this to be excellent. And it's not going to be perfect. And there's so much I'm learning, not just about art, but I'm learning that. Because I've been drawing forever, but I took a long hiatus and really had to get back learning things that I knew lacked in my drawing game. So, but then I also have a whole new second story to draw. I'm nearly done with the one, and then this whole other story. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. But yeah, I had a great time, and it was cool just going to places where you're like, fucking Lane Staley used to sing here, and I sang here. I thought that was the coolest, man. Just being reminded of that because my boys are such big Alice in Chains fans. They were very stoked, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should have really soaked it in when we did the show there. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing when we did that show there. We weren't really expecting to play there that night. No, we were expecting to play there. We weren't expecting to play at Louis G's that night, or earlier in that day. So we actually got there early, played the one show as a fill-in at Louis G's, and that was our first time playing there. And then we bolted over to the Central and played the show there. That's how it went. I knew there was a weirdness about it, but yeah, we played 2 shows that day, which is always fun. So anyway, this is a quick video just to let you guys know where I'm at. A strange thing happened. I don't know why I want to talk about it, but I went to buy smokes, and they often do this, and I used to never care, but eventually I started caring. But the guy asked for my ID. Now the thing is, it's hard to see maybe in this light, but I got a lot of gray in here. So when they're asking for my ID, I don't know. They probably think I'm a informant or something, or some spy trying to trick them into not asking, set up by their employer or something. That's my only guess, because there's no way you can look at me and be like, he's not old enough to buy cigarettes, I don't think. Or he's on the cusp. I'm like way past the cusp. I've been buying cigarettes longer than I haven't. We'll just say that. So, yeah, he asked to see I was buying creamer because I ran out and I wanted some in the morning. So my half and half and a pack of cigarettes. And he says, "Can I see your ID?" I was like, "Sure." And I held it up to him. He's like, "Can I have it to scan?" And I go, "No." I said, "You could look at it as long as you want, but you cannot have it to scan." Because I don't like that shit. I used to do it all the time. I don't like it anymore. I kind of got, not so much paranoid, but I just don't like that that's a thing. And I get it. Everybody's like, well, they got to make sure you're not using a fake ID. Okay, it's 10:30 at night. I got gray in my beard. I want my smokes. I'm not using a fucking fake ID, and even if I was, I'm fucking going gray, dude. Like, what the fuck? So then he rang me up, and I didn't know he wasn't adding the cigarettes. He's like, "Oh, it'll be like $2.90." I'm like, "Okay." And then I go, this is the weird part. I said, "Can you not sell those without scanning it?" And he said, "That's not why I'm not selling them to you." Okay. I didn't make a scene. It wasn't anything weird. It was just kind of like, oh, okay. I get what you're coming at. He was mad that I refused. Not for any other reason. Or he thought I was a spy, I guess. I don't know. And I get it. It's just doing his job, but fuck, I think that shit sucks. I don't like it. I don't like people grabbing my ID and scanning it. Anyway, that's just a totally unrelated to anything. I'm tired and I'm ready for bed once I finish this. But I was declaring that I am back. For now, we're going to see what the future holds for Odin. I told myself I wouldn't think about this until after my boys went home, and now they're home. So I have to think about it. And that is that my daughter's mom is moving them to Missouri. And I have to debate. I'm only in Spokane because of her. I have to weigh the pros and the cons of whether I want to go out there too. Well, not whether I want to, whether I'm going to. I know I don't want to, but I don't have any specific reason holding me to Spokane. I was engaged up until a few months ago. And that kept me here, and that also kept her from moving. As I said, you're not moving. I'm stuck here, This is what I'm doing. But once that ended, which it did, obviously, that opened the door, and I gave her a little bit of a green light to move. And I think it'll be better for her. I think it'll probably be better for my daughters, or I wouldn't even care. I'm not worried about if it's better for her, but I think better for her is generally better for my daughters. We'll just put it that way. But what about me? That's the big question. So the idea is I want to be close to them, of course. I never not want to be close to them. I'd love it if they lived with me. I'd be just fine. But that said, I think it makes more sense for them to live with her. But I still have my time with them. So anyway, this is all personal shit. I'd probably stop talking about it. But that said, the only hiatus I see coming up is, 1, I might be moving. 2, I'm going to a concert in Colorado. And I'm not sure how many days I'll take off and be there during that stretch. 3, also, birthday is coming up here soon, so that might be a thing. But in the end, I'm happy I got to see my boys. I got to contemplate this deep, very pivotal question in my life. But all things considered, I am still going to be drawing, writing, and creating all the way, no matter what comes. If I take a little hiatus, though, that's why. But with that said, drawing is so very important to me right now. So I'm excited to get back to making more pages, wrapping this thing up, and moving on to the next step. So anyway, all that to say, I'm back, baby. I'm back again, baby. And you thought you got rid of me. You never get rid of me. I'm like a cold sore that you thought you got rid of and came back again. No, I'm excited. So, and with that, I'm going to wrap this up. As always, I really hope everyone out there, anyone who watches this, that you're doing just pure awesome, and that every endeavor that you're attempting, that you're going for, that you're doing it with boldness and power, and that it turns out awesome. And even if it doesn't turn out awesome, that you turn out more awesome because you attempted it and you learned from it and became stronger and more capable because you are willing to step out and try. And I will always commend you for that. So again, I hope you're all doing pure awesome. And with that, I am going to say goodbye and good night. This is Odin. See ya.